Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Joe and Joe Weather Show on this Tuesday night, the 10th of November, 2021. The Joe and Joe Weather Show brought to you by Omni True Value Hardware at 1226 North Wellwood Avenue in West Babylon, New York, for the best prices anywhere in the tri-state area when it comes to, whoops, that wasn't supposed to happen. Hold on. Oh, God. This is what happens when you hit the wrong button. I'm running him backwards. Oh, that's just great. Okay, anyway, why don't we just do it this way? There were 1226 North Wellwood Avenue in West Babylon, New York. Best prices in town for rock salt or anything else that you need for this coming winter. They're at 63175. The phone number is 631-756-1125. 1226 North Wellwood Avenue in West Babylon, and the website is omnitruevalue.com. Wholesale holiday lighting by Giannini. With Christmas coming, make your house the best looking house in your entire town. They're your complete holiday lighting specialist, meeting all your decorating needs. So you could have snowmen and penguins and countdown clocks and Santa Clauses and snowmen and elves all dancing on your front lawn. 162 Ocean Avenue in Lindenhurst, New York, 631-957-5106. And the website is liholidaylighting.com. Oh, we're batting 1,000 tonight. Now my mouse just died. Oh, great. So this is going to take me a moment. In the meantime, hang on a second, folks. Okay, now the mouse is back. I can let Rayo in. I can put our lovely faces up on the screen. God. Well, you missed it already, Mr. Rayo.
Did you fix your mouse?
Yes, the first thing I did was I hit the wrong button, and the graphics for Omni and Holiday Lighting by Giannini started rolling backwards. So I had to reverse them, and that made it worse. Then my mouse just decided to stop working, but no matter. We are now technically sound, at least for the time being. And the night begins with Michael McGuire banging the tip jar tonight on Super Chat. Thank you so much. 79 degrees was his high where he is in North Carolina. I don't know if I made it to 70 today. I think I got to 68. But I wasn't that cold this morning. I think I was down to 40 or so.
Well, it was a lovely day out there today, and not as mild as yesterday here in Putnam Valley. And it looks like we're going to be getting a little cooler tomorrow. We may have a tough time cracking 60, but still, it'll be a dry day tomorrow, and then we'll prepare for some wetness. I would assume, based upon everything I looked at,
right,
for Friday.
Yeah, tomorrow's issue is going to be the wind off the ocean and arriving clouds as the day goes on. Although I think the beginning of the day might wind up having at least some sun, I would imagine, because the system is still hung up pretty far to the west, or as top.
And we also had quite a bit of wind out there today. The wind actually blew down 3 of Renata's big spike plants, which we brought back outside from the garage during that recent cold spell. But Renata says that they went down because I did not water them. I did not put enough water in their containers, and so the wind did its thing, and down they went.
Of course, it was your fault. Of course. Naturally.
It's always my fault, Joe.
It is. So. Yes. We're in the season now, Joe, that every run of the GFS is probably going to show snow here at some point. And the 18Z run obliged us so beautifully for next weekend, which was hilarious. So this will lead to, inevitably, the maps of said snow appearing on social media, the proclamations that it is not a forecast, which then begs the question, why do you put it up in the first place without any context? But too funny. But that's where we are. A lot of confusion in the long range from some folks that follow the long range, that are good at it. Not sure how this is all going to break, and admitting what I was saying yesterday, which was couldn't figure out why, after a bunch of runs in one direction, all of a sudden there's a few runs start going in the other direction. And that continued into today until late this afternoon when they went back to the original direction. So bottom line is, we don't know. We just don't know. But I'm still thinking, I'm still thinking front end loaded.
Well, here's what I'm going to say. And what is today? Today is the 10th of November. I'll make this prediction now. And here it is, that the first significant, if not major, snowfall in the tri-state area is either going to come on Sunday, November the 28th, or on the 14th of December, which I believe is a Wednesday. Either one of those 2 days, we will have a significant, if not downright substantial snow. And the reason why I picked those 2 dates, Sunday, the 28th of November, is the day that I'm supposed to leave.
I was thinking that was the one reason. And
and the other day is when
the day you're supposed to come back.
We're supposed to come back. Right. So put your money down. That is my long range prediction for the next month or so.
Yep. All right. Listen, I wouldn't doubt it. I often use conspiracy bets like that, where there's a certain date that you have to have clear, and you want nothing to go wrong, and you don't want any weather to go on because you've got things to do. And 9 times out of 10, you wind up having something that you're going to have to deal with. But let's hope that you fly out. I mean, the odds do favor that you will have no issues either going or coming back while you're on that rowboat you're going on. Oh, that's a different story. But,
yeah.
Oh,
Joe!
Yeah, exactly. All right. Satellite tonight, it was really a nice day up and down the East Coast, except for maybe northernmost Maine and for northern half of Florida, where there were clouds that were streaming across out of the Gulf of Mexico. But the rest of the East was in fine shape. Now, of course, if you look on the satellite this evening, the bright white cloud tops blowing up in the Central Plains. That's from thunderstorms and from severe weather, believe it or not. And heading on the northern side of that is where the low is, heading up into Minnesota. And eventually we're going to see the northern edge of that precip shield change over to snow in northern Minnesota. And, of course, in the endless deluge that is the Pacific Northwest, you can see more energy coming in off the Pacific Ocean, and there is more rain going on there. On the radar, I want to focus our attention to this cluster, Joe. Now they've merged to one, and it looks like they're moving from north to south. So I'm thinking that this has got to be migratory birds or something, because it sure as hell ain't precip aloft. There aren't any clouds around. So it could be a gaggle of geese.
But Joe, what's the direction they're moving? South to north?
No, they're moving north to south.
Oh, no, north to south. Okay. Yeah. Well, it could very well be. I mean, it's so very warm the last few days, and the birds, probably sense that this would be a good time to make a long distance, flight.
Well, they must be doing it at a relatively low latitude, and there's a lot of them because they're being picked up by the Binghamton radar. I didn't see any. I should probably go over to the Binghamton website to see if they mention anything about it. Meanwhile, take a look at this couple of lines of thunderstorms here. There were some severe thunderstorms in northwestern Missouri a few hours ago, and in northeastern Kansas. There are no severe thunderstorm warnings up there, but there are a couple of strong cells that are moving eastward now into northwest Missouri. Further south in Oklahoma, we've got a couple of severe thunderstorm warnings up, and also down near the Texas state line for another line of strong storms that's moving eastward. And then further north, some heavier rain moving up into Wisconsin and through central Minnesota. And I think the stuff that's on the northwest side of this might be a mix of rain and snow. And eventually, you'll probably see mostly snow up here in northeastern Minnesota. And by the way, remember yesterday we had that marginal risk of severe weather in Washington State, around in western Washington, which we talked about how we don't really see that too often. I did see a story this morning that there was a tornado near Seattle yesterday.
Well, that's Seattle?
Yes, Seattle.
That's that throws me for a little bit of a loop. I don't ever recall ever seeing something like that in that part of the country in terms of tornadic activity. But wow, that's amazing.
Yep. Some scattered precip across Montana, a little bit of light precip in parts of northwestern Colorado. The rest of the country is sitting quietly. The Storm Prediction Center, and we'll come back to Friday because they did actually add thunderstorms in for Friday. So here we go. We actually have looks like 3 severe thunderstorm watches that are in effect right now in this zone of marginal to slight risk. Let me try that again. Let's see. 1, 2, yeah, it's 3. And the convective outlook, 2 areas of slight risk inside a larger area of marginal: northeast Kansas, northwest Missouri, extreme southeastern Nebraska, and eastern and central Oklahoma down into northeast Texas, I guess, the northeast quarter there of Texas. Now, for tomorrow and Friday, we have no severe weather being indicated yet by the Storm Prediction Center. However, they do have, now this goes to Friday morning, so this is why they have thunderstorm, the edge up to New York City and up to the Pennsylvania-New York state line. It's not for anything during the day tomorrow or even tomorrow evening. This would probably be early Friday morning. And you can see general thunderstorms from there down the East Coast, across the Deep South, and along the Gulf Coast. And this, again, is for Thursday to Friday. And moving on to Friday, as the precip moves through in the east, they have a sliver of general thunderstorms from eastern South Carolina, eastern North Carolina, eastern Virginia, eastern Maryland, Delaware, New Jersey, all of New Jersey, southeastern PA, to the lower Hudson Valley, to about Route 84, across the southern half of Connecticut and Long Island, which makes sense with that cold front coming through. We figured that SPC would do something. I'm thinking maybe they might add a little area of marginal risk. Part of the problem with Friday...
Oh, sure they will.
Well, part of the problem with Friday is the timing. Because if it were to come, if this were arriving late afternoon and evening, I would think they would probably put up a marginal risk. But being that we're, it's coming in, the stuff's going to come in Friday morning, and it might be all done by early afternoon, and maybe not. We'll see. Timothy Veltman, God bless you. He just posting a link about what we were talking about with the birds from the Weather Service office in
29.6 million birds in flight. 29.6 million birds, Joe. That's a lot of birds.
That is.
Wow. And it's
look at that.
And the website that the website that Timothy Veltman sent us shows that the Northeast is, along with the Texas Panhandle.
I'm going to put this on the screen.
The Northeast is really active tonight. Yeah, that's amazing. Wow.
Yeah. Hang on a second.
And this is what I tell people. I tell people that part of doing this show is that we're not the be all and end all and know all about everything. There are some things that we just, are not aware somebody on our chat board will tell us about. And sure enough, thank you, Timothy Veltman, for showing us this. This is pretty amazing to me. And
oh, I love this.
Astonishing.
I'm gonna save this. This is very cool, actually. Look at that active. Yeah, and the Northeast, the Northern Mid-Atlantic, heading south and then southwest, and as you said, Joe, in West Texas, Western Oklahoma, and into central into Kansas. Also, those birds seem to be heading south and southeast toward the. Those are the ones in Texas. The arrows turn southeast, pointing toward the Gulf of Mexico, Western Gulf of Mexico, and I would bet that with the birds coming down those arrows in Northern Virginia and West Virginia, maybe that means that they're also heading toward the Gulf of Mexico. This is very cool.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
I wonder how
there's one.
I wonder how Mrs. Bundy would feel about this.
Yeah, there is one particular bird that Cornell University studied many years ago, the indigo bunting. And the indigo bunting, which is a common bird across much of North America, when it migrates in the spring and then it goes back south in the fall, that bird actually uses the stars to migrate. They did experiments inside of a planetarium, and they found that when they move the planetarium around to show certain constellations, such as Ursa Major and the Big Dipper, that the birds actually are attracted to those stars and follow those stars, either coming north or coming south. And it's amazing what these animals. There's still a lot of mystery about how the birds do this. And there is Mrs. Bundy.
Yes, there she is.
Yes.
I have a cartoon saved on my phone that I thought was really funny. I can't bring it up right now, but so it's a woman on a beach underneath a beach umbrella, and she's got her food basket, and the food is out, and there are about a dozen seagulls.
Yes.
Right near her, and the seagull says, "Okay, lady, here's the deal. We could do this the easy way, or we could do this the Hitchcock way." Which I thought was cute. So thank you, Tim. I've bookmarked this. This is good stuff. I really do enjoy. By the way, migratory scientists have found that the migratory paths of birds are not, it's not instinct. It's actually taught from generation to generation. It's the studies that they've done. They've done studies showing that the young are actually on their first migratory flight are taught the migration paths, and there are certain birds. The European swallow, Joe, comes up from. Let me come back to us full screen, but I think it's the European swallow. Winters in South Africa, and then flies the whatever it is, 5,000 kilometers, from there all the way up into Europe, where they nest. And on their flight, they have to make the crossing over the Sahara Desert, where there's hardly any water source. But so they do. There is a water source there that is unfortunately not drinkable. The water it's poison. What is it? It's acidic. Some natural, lake and river. I think it's a lake, and it's it's highly acidic, and the birds can't drink the water. But out of that. And maybe it's too briny. I forget what it was, but out of that water hatches millions of flies, and the hatching of those flies is timed to the arrival of the swallows, who then eat the flies and get their water from the flies. The flies, they digest the flies, and that actually provides their water sources. They can finish the trip across the Sahara and then go on their merry way into Europe. It's amazing that they do this, and we complain getting on the LIE. you know.
And that another bird that is very um, robust in migration is the hummingbird. A very little tiny bird. And of course, I have several. In fact, I got to take my hummingbird feeders down. It's about time, I think. But still, I mean, these birds actually go across the Gulf of Mexico and travel nonstop, hundreds and hundreds of miles over the Gulf of Mexico to get down into Central America. You're right. It is fascinating, and it's amazing that tiny little waif like this will manage to go all that way nonstop, to go from point A to point B. And this is the time of the year. And again, on that Doppler radar, it appears right now that one of the two active regions is right up here in the northeastern United States.
Right.
Thank you again, Tim.
All right, let's head back to WPC with respect to the rainfall over the next 7 days, and we'll take a look at that, and you'll see that pretty much of this is for Friday, and there's also going to be maybe a few showers late on Saturday with the upper trough going by. Excuse me. But we're looking at about 3/4 of an inch to maybe an inch. I think that's pretty fair. Might be a few pockets depending on whether there's a thunderstorm or two embedded in the mix that winds up producing a little bit more. You see this little strand that runs from eastern Oklahoma, western Arkansas, northward up the middle and upper Mississippi Valley into the western Great Lakes, where we're looking at anywhere from 3/4 of an inch to 1.5 inches plus, and some of the precip that's going to fall in northern Minnesota and along the western shores of Lake Superior will be in the form of some snow later tonight and tomorrow. And of course, the endless several to many inches that continues to pile up in the Pacific Northwest. So let's go to I'm going right to the 10 millibar, Joe, to look at the stratosphere. And a very interesting run late this afternoon. By day 10, the polar vortex stretches and almost splits in two. One center in, just north of northern Hudson Bay, another center up closer to the coast near Siberia. I mean, it looks like it's going to split in two here, and then it just kind of consolidates into one center, but it remains, stretched out and elongated from North America on one side and deep into Siberia on the other. So at least from the standpoint of what the 10 millibar is telling us, the stretched out sort of weakish look to the polar vortex is something that should be favorable for colder air to continue spreading across Canada and then spreading southward into the United States. And these runs have been fairly consistent. One thing about looking at the 10 millibar level is the fact that there's only one feature. Okay, so it really isn't going to change very much from run to run. So you look for subtle things that, those are going to change, but the general flavor of what's happening remains pretty much the same. So I'm going to roll back here, get the new GFS. We're in a progressive, not the political progressive, but the weather progressive type pattern where things progress from west to east with regularity. And there's your low in northern Minnesota. Actually, that rain should be changing over to snow now across northern Minnesota as the low wraps up. Not too shabby there, Joe. 987 low, fairly deep. And then you got this arm of thunderstorms that just whips eastward. It gets in here Friday during the early morning hours and then probably out by early afternoon from west to east. And then the front goes offshore. Now, here's where it gets a little complicated for the weekend. The problem with all of this, as we look at the upper air, is the fact that the cold front itself, this is Friday morning. So look how far west the upper trough is. The upper trough is still way back. It's a cold cutoff low in northern Wisconsin. The ridge is now just off the East Coast, but all the real cold upper air support and the trough is still well to the west, even though the surface cold front would have come through by Friday afternoon. So now we have to wait for this upper trough to swing on by, and lo and behold, we've got a rather strong shortwave there Saturday morning from eastern Michigan down into Tennessee, and it seems like it's sharpening up here as it heads east. I think this might produce a line of showers, and who knows? Will it maybe even an odd thunderstorm could be in there? I don't know. It's very cold aloft, and Saturday I don't think is going to be all that chilly. We're going to have to wait for this upper trough to go by in order for cold air to the more quality cold air to come in for Sunday, and then another short wave behind it will reinforce it for Monday and Tuesday. This shot of cold air actually looks reasonable, for this time of year, Joe. Still, the average highs around mid 50s, most places, low to mid 50s. So, if we're talking about a day that temperatures are going to not get out of the 40s for this time of year, that's chilly.
Yeah, and you're right. We're going to have to wait for the, if you will, a teleconnection between the upper level winds and the surface winds to go northwesterly, and that will not happen until the latter part of the weekend. So even though the actual front comes on through with showers here on Friday, it's going to take still another 24 to 36 hours for the upper winds to adjust to allow for the push of colder air in here for against Sunday and for the start of next week.
Right. And when we look, this run, by the way, went back to a kind of a blocky look toward the latter part of the forecast period. So eventually this trough in the east early next week lifts out. We get into a little bit of a ridge again for Wednesday and Thursday, which means we'll warm up for a day or two. And then here comes the next round of short waves and troughs into the eastern part of the United States with cold air that spreads out behind it. Now we're into Thanksgiving week. I mean, now here's where the GFS got a little squirrely. If you look at the bottom, right, if you look at the bottom part of this jet, okay, you got this upper low up in Hudson Bay. The bottom part of this jet, the GFS has got some kind of shortwave from Nebraska down into West Texas that moves eastward while the whole northern part of the jet stream is collapsing southeastward. And you can see there's a rather sharp, identifiable feature a week from Sunday, sitting from Pennsylvania to off the North Carolina coast. And of course, we'll show you what it looks like on the surface because we know it's gospel this far out into the future. But the overall broad pattern is, once again, this trough comes into the east. Now there is some blocking. You get a high that's building up toward Greenland there around day 12, day 13, and the trough is going to try to lift out. And in this particular case, it does seem to succeed. The blocking high, actually the blocking high kind of shifts over toward Iceland. So I don't know, are we going to then get into a ridge position again as more troughing comes into the west? The last part of it, the last 3 days of this particular run, I have little confidence in, and actually even from day 10 on, I have probably little confidence in at this point. But here's what it did. Since I know you didn't look at it, right, Joe? You didn't look at the 18Z.
No.
Oh, okay. So
no, I did not.
You'll be seeing it for the first time. Okay.
Yes.
So let's roll it back and spoil the surprise. So let's.
My opinion of the 18Z.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. I've been fighting off a cold, by the way, for the last 6 days.
I've been fighting off a cough for the last 3 weeks.
Yeah, it's been driving me crazy. So there's that arm for Friday. And the GFS actually has a not too shabby looking line of showers with heavy rain and a few thunderstorms here Friday morning. By Friday afternoon, it's offshore. And then on Saturday, now that's that second shortwave that comes around. And I don't agree with what the GFS does with this in terms of the precip. I think it's probably there's going to be maybe a north-south line of showers with that second upper trough. But it does show something here for later Saturday. Much of the day will probably be quiet until maybe Saturday mid to late afternoon and evening. And then the next reinforcement comes in for Sunday and Monday with a shower, and the lake effect machine gets turned on to a small extent. That cold high moves out. Now here it comes, Joe. Get ready. Get ready. We got this next front next Friday, right?
Do I need to get a drum roll?
No, you don't need the drum roll. But here comes the front. Here comes the front next Friday. Now I'll switch to the close-up. You got a 1037 high in North Dakota spreading out. The front gets hung up. A wave develops on it in probably in North Carolina. Snow breaks out in southern Illinois, northern Kentucky, southern Ohio. And there it is, Joe, the dark blue snows, rain changing to snow before ending, with a low that goes out from North Carolina east-northeast to about 38 and 69 and a half, and a northern snow shield there for early Sunday morning. So write that down. It's on the 252 hour. Rarely is the 252 hour wrong, by the way. Okay. If it were the 246.
You have no idea, Joe. You know how dangerous it is to say something like that, because now all over social media,
I know
they're going to use that quote.
Right.
Joe Chiaffi says, rarely is this wrong at 252,
right,
252
okay.
hours.
Because clearly there's a portion of the population that have no appreciation for sarcasm. But
yes,
I was going to say the 246. I'm sorry. What did I say? The 246 or the 252 is never wrong.
Right. Okay.
Which one did I say was never wrong?
I thought it was. You said 252.
Okay, the 252 is never wrong. Now the 246 is never right, nor is the 254. Now, nor is the 258. But the 252, you could just bet the house on, bet the bankroll on this, and that leaves us. By the way, it does. Interestingly enough, let's forget what I mean. Obviously, would have to happen in order for this to verify. In terms of how cold it is, but actually brings 516 thicknesses down to just about to New York, less than 516 thicknesses on the Monday of Thanksgiving week. So if this were to verify, it would be pretty cold to start off Thanksgiving week. And of course, with the fact that we go to a blocky look, and then it looks more progressive toward the end, the high goes out, and then we warm up somewhat for Thanksgiving Day with a rainstorm to our west, but then Thanksgiving Day would be dry. Little snow there on Wednesday in upstate New York. Okay, so we're going to have these fantasy runs for the next 5 months. So I think it's just probably a good idea that we all get used to it. They're going to be there every day.
You hear that, folks? Well, you get used to it.
Yeah.
These are the agita maps, the agita runs. And Joe, I will again quote Isaac Asimov from his famous short story, The Last Question. There is, when we're talking about computer information, guidance information, I would say beyond 5 days. And if you're asking these guidance models to forecast somewhat accurately what may happen, let's say 10, 12, or 15 days ahead, if the computer can talk, it would say, and again, this is a quote from Asimov's story, The Last Question, there is as of yet insufficient data for a meaningful answer. In other words, the answer you may get, but is it meaningful? I don't think so. 252 hours. 252 hours, folks.
We still have to wait for this whole weather pattern to just sort of align itself. Dr. Judah Cohen today said he actually mentioned the North Pacific oscillation being in a position that is favorable for cold and snow in the east. But someone had asked him the question about the model's volatility lately, and he makes a point which which I've made from time to time. Anytime you've got blocking or attempts for blocking, the models seem to just have a really tough time with it, and they go all over the place. Either they want to make it, go really crazy with it, or they want to completely ignore it. But I have to say, I mean, given the state of the NAO, given the state of the polar vortex, it would seem to me that the NAO has wanted to stay negative since the last week of September. So I'm not seeing anything that really changes that going forward. It does actually go positive for about a week, starting from the 16th. And then you've got some of the members staying but not a lot. It's only like one standard deviation positive. And the PNA is going negative now, but then it starts to go back to neutral, and a few of the members go positive also late in the forecast period. So, look, the key is going to be the EPO, as I've always said. You need that to be negative in order to get some cold air, and we are going to see it negative from time to time over the next. We're going to see it negative this weekend. We're going to see it negative probably next weekend and into the start of Thanksgiving week, and then let's just see, what adventure these models are going to take us on a day-to-day basis. So that's all I have to say.
We'll see. Okay.
Okay. Oh,
We'll
let's just check the state of. There's still they got the X out at the Atlantic. A 50% chance that this becomes subtropical either tonight or Thursday before it reaches cooler waters. It doesn't.
So that means we're gonna have a new name. Is that what they're implying? If it becomes subtropical, I guess so.
Yeah,
it'll be the first.
There's a 50% chance now, Joe. But after later tomorrow, as it moves over cooler water, that'll be the end of that.
Okay.
All right. So let's do a little Briller Jeopardy, and then let's call it a night, because I had a very bad night of sleep last night, and I'm exceptionally tired today. So
okay.
All right. So here we go. We are still talking Antarctica. All right. At the McMurdo Station, Joe, the McMurdo Station, not the McMullen Station, but the McMurdo Station. A 50-year, 24-hour snowfall record was broken in April of 2009. How many inches fell in 24 hours?
At the McMurdo Station.
Right.
Well, first of all, the question is, how much snow does McMurdo get? I mean, it's not like it may be Antarctica, but I don't think they get as much snow, let's say, as places that have lake effect, or even places like here in the New York metropolitan area, because again, Antarctica is really a very, very dry location. So I'm going to say that is this like a one-day all-time record for McMurdo?
24-hour. But let me read you this. I just did a quick Google. January through December are the months with snowfall. I'm glad they pointed it out that that it snows there every month of the year. In McMurdo, Antarctica. In McMurdo, they have 17.8 snowfall days, 114 millimeters or 4.49 inches of snow is typically accumulated in McMurdo during the entire year. Now, I don't understand this. What does that mean? Okay. During the entire year, snow falls for 181.3 days and aggregates up to 1,484 millimeters or 58.43 inches of snow.
Well, what was the original question? How much? What is the record for one day?
Right. How much fell in this 24-hour period? In April of 2009.
I'm going to say 25 inches.
Close, 20.
Okay.
See, now I see. Okay, for January, the average snowfall is 6.6. Okay.
Right.
And for the year,
right.
Now on this thing I just Googled up, it's got the average precip days, 46.1, average snowy days, 181.3, total snowfall, 58.4. They do get a lot of what I would refer to as traditional blizzards in Antarctica. which can last for days at a time, and 40 and 50 mile an hour screaming winds, but not necessarily a whole lot of snow that falls. Okay, the highest wind gust ever in Antarctica happened at Black Island. How high were those gusts?
I'll say something crazy. I'll say like 90 miles an hour.
No, Joe, 211 miles an hour.
Oh, God. Holy mackerel.
Now, I don't know where Black Island is. I hope it's not in the Drake Passage.
You had to say that, right? You had to say that.
You know what? Let's take a look. Hang on. Where is Black Island, Antarctica? Okay. Oh, lovely. Black Island is 25 miles south of McMurdo. It figures. I'm trying to pull up a map here. It's at 78.14 south, 166.2 east. Okay, so you're not going to be. I don't think you're going to be near there. Trying to. Oh, Joe, yeah, no, you don't have to worry. It's on the. It's completely on the other side. Okay, it's not on your side. It's on the opposite side.
Okay, that's good. That's good. Would you allow to share for me to share the screen here?
Oh, it would be a pleasure. One moment.
I want to show all of you a video. I've shown this to people and it's available on YouTube.
Go for it.
Okay, let me just first get this up into position, and then all of you can see what I'm trying to. Whoops, hang on.
Tom Contino, I'm not stressed. Just so you know, it's not possible to be stressed here. I don't know why I haven't been sleeping well for the last week. It could be related to the fact that I've been fighting off this cold, but I can guarantee you it's not stress. I have no reason to be stressed.
Okay, going full screen here. Folks, this is what you call condition 1 weather in Antarctica. You ready for this?
Really like what a condition 1 in Antarctica is really like.
Well, what's the scale? Does it go like from 1 to 5?
I suspect it's at the top.
Entryway to our dorm. Normally this has carpet on the ground and the walls are just normally walls, but we're going to open the door right now. It's a little bit like opening up the door to another world. Are you ready?
Very good.
It's a little bit blowy out there right now.
Yes, I wouldn't want to travel. I wouldn't want to travel during those conditions. But anyway, that is condition 1 in Antarctica, Joe.
What would Tom Grant do with that in the forecast? Travelers are not advised to travel under these extreme conditions. God bless them. All right, question 3. Antarctica lays claim to the world's largest iceberg. How many miles wide was it? Was it 7 miles wide? Was it 15 miles wide? Was it 23 miles wide? Or was it 645 miles wide?
I don't know. If I wanted to do my Tom Grant right now, I'd have to do a very nasal type of voice. This weather will be repeated after a short interval.
Yes, exactly. So which one do you think? 7, 15, 23, or 645?
What the hell? I'll say 640. I'll say 645.
And 645 is the correct answer. Now, Tom, the supply chain issues, energy crisis, and inflation are causing a ton of hidden stresses in our lives. Okay, first of all, I have been able to find everything I need, so I really don't have any supply chain issues at the moment. That could change. As far as the energy crisis is concerned, I mean, I can remember when gasoline got over $4 a gallon for a while back in the early part of the last decade. So, you know,
2008, August of 2008, Joe. I remember paying $4.45 for gas.
right. So, I mean, it's hardly.
And then mysteriously it all. I remember there was one particular dealership that was offering guaranteed $2.99 gas, and as soon as they came out with that offer, gas prices plummeted, and
right.
they had to, and then all of a sudden that $2.99 looked like hey, what are you signing on for that for?
I paid $3.05 today. You know, so I really I don't have any problems getting gasoline. My propane tank is full, and inflation, yeah, it's stuff is costing more. But honest to God, I don't really think about it too much. It's not. If there's if there's stress in my life, it ain't from that. All right. So I just want to assure you, I'm not stressed. Okay. Let's see. Just trying to run through the chat board. There is an energy crisis in Europe, by the way. Let's make no mistake of that. They're having real problems because they don't have anything. They have to import everything. So there's a real energy crisis in Europe. But that's that's a conversation for another day. And don't fear for your grandchildren. They'll screw up this world the same way we screwed it up. So that's just the way it works. One generation screws it up. The next generation comes along to repair what the prior generation screwed up, only to screw up something else. And then the next generation that follows will fix that, and then they'll screw up something else. I'm not too concerned, okay? So I'm definitely not stressing about that. All right, I think we can wrap it up tonight. I'm wanting to go to bed. That's what I'm wanting to do. So
well, have a good night's sleep, and we'll see you tomorrow.
All right.
Hey, so happy it's Thursday.
Yes, I agree.
I love that acronym, even more than TGIF. But it's Thursday tomorrow, and we will be back, and we'll talk more then.
All right, Mr. McGuire, thank you again for hitting Super Chat tonight. As always, hitting the tip jar is greatly appreciated. And everybody, thanks for being here and taking time out of your day to join us here on the Joe and Joe Weather Show. The chairman says the answer was 23. Oh, 23 miles. Wasn't 645 miles. It was 23 miles. No problem.
Oh.
So we've corrected that. And thank you, Scott, for sending in these Antarctica questions. And Joe and I will be back tomorrow night at 7:30 Eastern Time. See you then.
Bye-bye, everybody.